Hello, welcome to the Unapologetically Badass podcast. I'm Renee. Hi, Sierra.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us.
And we are so excited. Today we are talking rewriting midlife, ditching self-doubt, and building your dream business with Nicole Sahara. We are so thrilled to have you on. We connected, well, how long has it been? Maybe 4 or 5 years?
I think it was probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Yes. Wow. Well, what's going on? I wanted dive in. If you could start off to introduce yourself, tell the audience who you are, what you do, and we'll start from there.
Okay, perfect. So I'm Nicole. I am the founder and CEO of Nicole Sahara Coaching. We'll talk a little bit more about what that all entails. But yeah, Renee, we met kind of right at the start of my reinvention, we'll call it.
Yeah.
And so I think it's so cool to have kept in touch over the years since
No.
we first met. Back then I didn't have this coaching business yet. I was still figuring out what I wanted to do. So that's kind of where you and my journey started.
Yeah.
But
What did you do prior? So what was your business, or where did you work?
yeah, so before I started my own business, I was in the customer experience and tech industry for many years.
Okay.
And nothing wrong with corporate. Big fan of corporate as well. I actually still do corporate. I talk about corporate like it's my side gig because my coaching business is my passion. So typically people go, "Oh, I didn't even know you worked in corporate." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's my side gig." But yeah, I mean, I got married really young, and I was married for a decade,
Mhm.
and kind of forcing myself to, hey, this is the life you chose. You need to be happy with it. And just always telling myself, this is what you want. You're happy, you're happy, you're happy. And after 10 years of that, I had to admit to myself, you know what? I'm not happy.
Mm.
I don't want to just do corporate. I'd always known I wanted to start a business of my own, but
Yeah.
I didn't have, the Sarah Blakely story of building Spanx in my garage, right? I didn't
Yeah.
have this invention that I thought needed to happen. And so I thought, well, how can you create a business without a specific idea? So that kind of limited me there. And then relationship wise, after you spent that much time with a person, you think, well, gosh, I don't want to start over in my 30s. I've already had this relationship. We're so far down the path. How can I just pick up and start over from square one? I didn't want to try dating in my 30s. It didn't sound fun.
Right.
So I was really forced to come to terms with, okay, you can continue on the current trajectory. You can keep telling yourself that you're happy, and you can keep trying really hard to be happy, or
Mhm.
you can make a hard choice right now
Wow.
and actually go pursue true happiness.
Yeah.
That had to have been scary as hell.
That was so scary, and it's easy now to look back and see women in a similar position. I mean, just go, just start
Right.
over. It's
Right.
so easy.
Well, and
But
I think the conversation that you had to have, a lot of times what I have heard, and I don't know how your conversation went, is that you find out that the other person isn't happy either.
yeah, I mean, I think that was actually driving a lot of the reason that the relationship wasn't working, because if you're not happy with yourself, you're gonna have a hard time being happy as a partner.
Yeah.
And so I think he had a lot to work on in himself that he needed to figure out. And we're both better now, kind of that we've done the work on ourselves. We sort of did this
Mhm.
backwards. Typically, I
Mhm.
recommend do the inner work first
Mhm.
before you get
Yeah.
in a relationship. But really, you know, it's not too late, no matter where you're at, to make a change if you're not truly happy.
So you changed a lot. It's not like you just left a marriage, right? What
Right.
what was your change
Yeah.
is?
Yeah.
So I left the town I had been living in for 15 years.
Mm.
I left the marriage, and I started this kind of introspection journey and realized I wanted to start a business of my own as well. So I did a lot of work personally before I actually launched my business.
Yeah.
But um, but yeah, new town, excited for new beginnings. And 3 months later, COVID hit.
Oh,
Mm.
dang it.
Right, right.
So
I
yeah,
mean,
I mean, that
that's
ended
no
up
small feat to go from a comfort zone, even, unhappy, but comfort zone, to all of this newness. Like, what was the
right.
And
biggest
then the
obstacle that
newness
you
to
had?
where you can't even be in your newness and go meet new people
Right.
because you're stuck
The world
inside.
shut down. Yeah.
Well, exactly. And I think, Renee, something that you just said, that comfort, right? That being comfortable. I think
Yep.
so many times we as women tell ourselves that we're happy when we're really just comfortable. It's what we
Mhm,
know. And so we deal with it. We
mhm.
tell ourselves we're happy when the truth is we feel comfortable. And we don't want
Yeah.
to go outside of our little box because this feels safe. It might be a shitty box, but it's all I know. So I want to stay
Yep.
in the little box,
As you
right?
perfectly stated, in my shitty little box, because this is what I know and this is my comfort level in my shitty little box.
Right.
Yep.
And so COVID actually ended up being a big blessing for me in hindsight because it forced me to spend time with myself and really
Yeah.
get clear on what do I want? What is
Mm.
going to make me happy? I don't think we think about what we actually want out of life nearly enough.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
1000.
you might daydream here and there, but if somebody said, "Hey, if I'm a genie and I'm going to give you 3 wishes, you can have whatever you want, what would you ask for?" I couldn't answer that question.
Right.
I couldn't have told you. I hadn't thought about what I wanted because I was so used to ignoring that and just telling
Mhm.
myself, "Hey, this is a great life. You know, you have a lot to be grateful for. You have it better off than a lot of other people. Why are you being ungrateful?" And so to
Mm.
really have that time to myself to say, what do I really want out of this life? I just took the leap. I'm starting over. I don't know hardly anyone in this town. My sister was in the town that I moved to, and we became little COVID pod buddies. We lived about 3 minutes apart.
Yeah.
And,
Oh.
she had my 2-year-old nephew with her, and
Oh,
so we had our own little unit.
yeah.
But I got to really think about what I wanted, and that was kind of how the idea of coaching was born. Was, hey, everything I get excited about is about supporting and empowering other women. It's
Mhm,
about community. It's
mhm.
about just supporting other women and being creative and brainstorming and through doing a lot of my own coaching with a coach, I realized, oh, hey, I think there's something here. And you know what? I think there's probably other women that are living in corporate and not really fulfilled and
Mhm,
need help figuring out what their thing is.
mhm.
And that was how Nicole Sahara coaching was born was I want to help people like me.
Yeah.
And I want to help them figure it out a lot faster than it took me to figure out. Because it took
Mhm.
me about 2 years to, do get that sorted out, build the program and do all of that. And so not everyone has to become a coach, but I want to help people find
Yeah.
what is it that's going to light them up and help them be
Yeah.
fulfilled so
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
they can go pursue that.
Right.
Mhm.
Did you have a lot of support, or was it a lot of people going like, "Nicole, you're
What are you
crazy.
doing?
What the hell are you up to?"
Um, Renee, I'm sure you've heard this before. Oh, that's cute. Oh, your little business. Like it's a little hobby.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't do anything half-assed. If I'm gonna do it,
Mhm,
I'm gonna do it.
mhm.
And so from a support perspective, I think that people were generally nice about it, but I don't think that they realized, no, this is the real deal. This is my purpose.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so, and also being in a new town, I didn't have a big support network because
Yeah.
I learned making girlfriends is as hard, if not harder, than dating.
It is. It so is.
Yes.
And why? And you know what I have to ask, Nicole, like, in your opinion, why is it that when a woman says she's going into business, unless it becomes like $1 million idea overnight, why do people doubt us? In your opinion, what do you think? Where does that stem from? What is this stigma that is happening?
I think it's a couple of things. I think that in general, most people have a ton of limiting beliefs that they carry, and most are not aware of those limiting beliefs. I was guilty of that before I did all this introspection, right? And so they think, well, I could never do that. And so then they don't think that you can do it because they couldn't, right? They're like, I can't imagine
Smart.
going out and doing this. And because we all have our inner judge, it's not coming from a place of admiration of, oh, wow, I could never do that. How inspiring. It's coming from a, you're crazy. How could you do that? Because again, everybody's inner judge, that they don't even often realize is there,
Yeah.
will kind of be spouting negative opinions. Did you know our brains are wired to carry negative experiences 3 to 1 compared to positive? So it takes
Mm,
3 positive experiences to
mm.
offset 1 negative experience. And so when you realize that our brains are wired that way, it's no surprise that people are going to err on the negative side because their brains are wired to do that. They're wired to look at the negative.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
I think
very true.
women are very, very guilty of this. And you know that we all three of us sit here and we advocate for women because we know that self-doubt. We know that we trick our minds into being negative. And I think that we are so guilty. And I don't know if it comes from a place of insecurity for a female. There are some that are going to cheer for you immediately because they're already in that happy go place of like, I'm doing it, she's doing it, you go girl. And then you have those ones that are so unhappy that they can never cheer for you
Mhm.
because their inner self is not in that place. And it really, really, one of the things that I love about this podcast is that we can speak to all women. And I just would encourage every woman listening is that you have got to cheer for other women. Let them do it. And if they fall, they fall. But cheer for them.
Amen.
Be there for them, you know? So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just so funny how there's such a stigma about women in business. It doesn't matter what business you choose. It's just immediately it's like a your little thing. Well, what are you doing that? When are you gonna get a real job?
Yeah. And especially because I was staying in corporate.
Yeah.
And,
Mhm.
part of that was intentional. I want to show women you don't have to quit your day job to build a business. You can do both. And you get
Yes.
to choose how long that looks. And there's a lot of different factors that go into that, right? It could be financial related, could be insurance related. It could just be, hey, you know what? I want to do this corporate gig, while I'm building the business.
Yeah.
And so everybody has their reasons and everybody has their timeline. I mean, eventually I probably will go into coaching full time,
Mhm.
but um, you know, when women are starting out and they think, oh, this feels impossible, or I'm not ready to just quit my job with no income stream, right? So how do I navigate that? I want to help women realize, look, you can manage your schedule. You can find a way to balance both. And look, I got off a conference call 20 minutes before this one started. And I wasn't worried. I knew this was at this time and that was at that time. And you have to manage your schedule a little tighter, but it's
Yeah.
totally doable. And I want women to see that. And
Yeah.
I'll be able to tell them, hey, I did this for this long, and leverage the benefits that corporate brings, things like insurance and maternity leave before
Right. Right.
I did this full time. And so I want women to see that. And it doesn't I'm not self-conscious about that anymore. I would say when I first started out, I had those limiting beliefs myself, right? Well, this can't be a real business if you're still working in
Mhm.
corporate.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Whereas, I realize now, Sierra, to
It's
your
kind of like
point.
you use that as your funnel to really build the dream,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
it's navigating it and being able to in the beginning it'll feel like a juggle, but then it'll just become a routine. And I think that is really, really difficult to explain to people until it like clicks one day and they're like, aha, I got it.
Yeah.
Well, and I've been in your shoes, right? You can't tell me, "Oh, I don't have time because I still have a full-time job." You wouldn't understand. I can say, "Oh, I
Yeah.
get it. I've lived there." And every challenge that I face through this journey, it's fuel for me that, you know what? My clients are gonna run into the same thing, and I can better coach them because I've run into it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yep. In fact, I
Go
took
ahead.
a full-time job over the past couple of years. I took a job so that because for years building network marketing, my direct selling business, that was my full-time gig. So even though I could understand and empathize with women that are working full time and then have kids and doing all the things, plus building their side hustle. I was like, you know what? I'm going to experience what they experience. So then I can create training and programs to show them you can work a 5-hour work week and build a side hustle.
Yeah. See,
Absolutely.
1000%. Right.
and I just
So,
it I just now, Renee, like, I mean, I've always done it, but I have now mentally switched to where exactly what you're saying, Nicole, and what you've been trying to say is that that job is the side gig and your business is the main priority. And and so like recently these last couple of weeks have been like the only thing that matters is me focusing on this boutique. Like this is what matters. This is what it is. And so and I think sometimes it just you have to hear it from somebody else, right? And so this is why coaches are so prevalent and so important, and people like you reminding people, like us, like it's okay.
yeah,
Let's
it's how people learn how to shift their mindset. 'Cause that's
absolutely.
really it's a mindset switch, and when we say, "You know what? We're gonna follow our passion, and we're gonna be bold enough to follow our passion with blinders on, to forget about what anyone says about it, cares about it, whatever, it's our thing," that becomes the important, aspect of our life, and then the job is the side hustle, like Nicole said.
Yeah.
I love that. And you have a program, your MBA, right?
Yes.
You wanna tell them what that's about? I love the way you coined it.
Yes. So MBA stands for Mindset, Business Clarity, and Action. Because to me,
So
those are the
cute.
three fundamentals to starting
Mhm,
your business. And it doesn't matter what kind of business, right? I am a
mhm,
coach, but I've coached somebody that wanted to start an art gallery slash kind of artist collab type thing, right? Or somebody that wants to turn their corporate experience into a consulting gig,
mhm,
or so like it can run the gamut, it can be anything. But the point is, the first most important foundation is your mindset. We've got to get that cleaned up so
yeah,
that you have a solid foundation that you're building your business on.
mhm,
Because as we all know, starting a business is going to come with its challenges, and you're going to have some mindset stuff that you need to work through. And you're going to have times where your confidence is going to get shaken because not very many people came to your launch. Maybe no one came to your launch, or you didn't sell as much as you had hoped, or you hit a bump in the road and the wheels are falling off the bus, right? So we got to equip your mindset so that you're prepared for the challenges that you're going to face in entrepreneurship. Also help you uncover the limiting beliefs that have kept you
mhm,
feeling stuck, right? There's a reason that you are where you are. And if you're not where you want to be, there's a reason that you haven't changed. We talked about the shitty little box, right? So you have to be aware that there's that box there. And so the
yep,
first step is sort of even uncovering, how am I boxing myself in? Am I limiting myself? And I didn't even realize it. So that's why the first step is mindset. Next is business clarity. Some people come and they know what they want their business to be, but the majority they're like, oh, I don't know. I want like I was. Have always known I was going to be an entrepreneur from the time I
mhm,
was like 6 years old, and I was selling fireworks, or whatever it may be, then Girl Scout cookies, then whatever
yeah,
candy bars. So I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, even from a young age, but I didn't have the one thing. I didn't have, I always wanted to make this one product. And I
mhm,
guess I kind of thought for a long time, well, you have to have an invention if you're going to be an entrepreneur. So making sure that everybody realizes that doesn't necessarily have to be your thing, and getting really clear on what business do I want to create for
mhm,
myself, and
mhm,
what does that look like. What's the model? Do I want to work 10 hours a week? Do I want to work 40 hours a week? I don't think that you have to grind and hustle to, I think that's another thing we hear a lot. Oh, you got to hustle, you got to grind. If you want to start a business, you better be prepared to work 80 or 90 hours a week. We don't have to adhere to that.
mhm, mhm,
And so the third step is action. And this is the one that separates the dreamers from the entrepreneurs.
yep,
You need to take action. That's the only difference. You are actually taking step toward what you want to make it a reality. And I call myself your action insurance, right? I'm there to make sure that you're actually following through with the things that you say that you want for your life. So
Cute.
with those three, mindset, business, clarity, and action, you have MBA. It's an online course. You get to go through it at your own pace. We actually just launched the last one this Monday, and now it's open enrollment. So because it's go at your own pace, even though we just launched, you can't, oh, I missed it. You didn't miss it. You can
Yeah.
start next week. You can start in 2 weeks, and you go at your own pace because I did initially have this kind of be a 10-week program, and I found everyone's at different places in their lives, and so
Mhm.
some
Yeah.
people, oh, I had a really busy week at work this week. I didn't have time to do the homework or do the modules. Okay, great. Well, we're not going to have to everybody stop or wait for this person to catch up. Now it's, guess what? You get to consume it on demand, go through it as
Yeah.
much as you want. I'm going to coach you live once a week on whatever spot you need coaching on, or if you have questions. And so for me, that made the business easier because I'm not trying to chase down and manage everybody's schedule. It's like you can go at your own
Yeah.
pace. You
Yeah.
get it for 6 months. So, if you wanted to, you could do it in probably 10 weeks or less. But if you want to take 6 months, you can take 6 months. You're not holding up anybody else in the group. And I'm here to coach you through when you feel stuck.
Love
Love it.
that. Yep. That's
So
nice and
speaking of stuck,
concise.
can we oh, go ahead, Renee.
No, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just like thinking of stuck. Can we rewind a little? Because um what happened after COVID, and I mean something happened there. So I need the rest of the story.
Yes. Yes. Okay. That's funny because you'll notice I like to jump all around. And so, yes, let's jump back for a minute. Okay, so again, I worked with a few coaches of my own and, healed. There was some healing I had to do
Mhm.
from, leaving a relationship and, starting over. So first I did that. And then I've always been really big on manifesting. And I love talking about this because you have the really woo woo crowd that's like, oh yeah, manifest, like a law of attraction and everything good comes right. And I probably fall more on the woo woo side, but you also have the practical people that are like, manifesting isn't real. That parking space just happened to be there. It wasn't man, you didn't manifest it. It's just there. Like stop trying to make like stop trying to make
Yeah.
manifesting happen. Right. So you have a wide spectrum of people. But what I learned with manifesting and studying that is there is something to be said about visualizing where you want to be and then just acting as if that's coming for you. And I think that is so powerful. And so that's what I started to do. I knew that I would eventually, because people always ask after you get a divorce, oh, do you think you'll ever get remarried? They just want to know that. And you're like, I've been divorced for a month. Feels
Right.
a little soon to be asking that, right? But everybody wanted to know. I mean, I did know that I would likely remarry at some point. And I guess I kind of fell in love with myself and just I savored that time alone. I wasn't desperately searching for a husband. I wasn't worried about my biological clock. I just took myself on dates, and that's actually where I met my now husband. I was on a date with myself, just perfectly content. I'd done the work, I'd done the healing. I
Love it.
started my own business. I was in a really good place. I was very independent. And I met him just while I was out on a date with myself. And initially I was like, oh, I was so interested and intrigued in speaking to him. And I thought, oh, I'd like to see him again. But at this point in time, I had done some dating and, COVID had passed. And I never had luck giving my number out to guys in bars. And I just decided, that's not for me. I'm not going to do that anymore. But when I met him at this old school dive bar called Charlie B's, I wanted to talk to him again. And so when he asked for my number, I said, I have this policy. I don't actually give my number to guys in bars. It's just never worked out for me. But then on the fly, I go, you know what? I'll take your number because that's not the same.
That's
No, it's
good.
not. You kept your rule.
And so I kept my rule. I took his number. And I think it was probably a week and a half later, I texted him and, we got together, started hanging out. And again, it wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna marry this guy. It
Yeah.
was it was it was just really neat to be
Like,
able to
let's see
date
what
somebody
happens.
from when you're coming from a place where you're whole, you're complete already. You're not looking for somebody else.
Yeah.
complete you or fill a void. So, long story short, we found love and we did eventually get married, and now we're expecting our first baby together in a couple of months. So,
Congratulations.
thank you. But
Is it a
so
boy
many
or a
people always
girl?
ask, oh, it's a boy.
Oh,
Oh,
yay.
It's a boy. Yes. But so many people
that's
ask,
exciting.
well, tell me how to manifest a husband, right? They hear about manifesting. And for me, I created the business of my dreams. I did also find the man of my dreams, but everyone wants to know, how do you manifest a husband? And again, whether you're on the woo-woo side of the spectrum or the extremely practical or even cynical side of the spectrum, manifestation is about taking action.
Yep.
Your
Yep.
husband or your wife is not going to fall out of the sky onto your
Nope.
couch next to you, right?
Nope. You got to actually you got to do some work in order to get what
Yeah,
you
you
want
got
out
you
of
gotta
it.
know what you want, and you need to manifest what it looks like, but you can't just sit at home expecting him to knock on your door.
No.
No, it's not quite that simple. But
But
you know what?
but you can prepare, like you said, living the life that you want to live. Like
Yeah.
living as if it's already happened. And the audience has heard me talk about this all the time, but one of the things that I didn't share before that you just made me think of, I have a girlfriend, and we were talking about manifesting and how things have happened in our lives because we manifested. And like you said, it's not just the woo woo. We can actually go through exactly what it is. I don't have to give you all the details now, but manifested and made it happen. And she was like, I want a man in my life. So I'm like, okay, so when you're at home, set your dinner table for 2 place settings.
I
When
like
you, right? When you are sitting down for dinner, act as if you have your person there with you. And so sharing those moments and those little things where you're just living as if you're in a relationship, and what does he look like and what does he do, and you end up making this all happen because you're open to finding this person. And she, I'm like, how's it going? She's like, I'm having dinner with my future husband.
I love it.
Isn't that a fun
I
thing?
love that. And you
Yeah.
know what?
So fun.
I sat up in the middle of the night one night. My my now husband, he was staying over, and I sat up and I'm half asleep. So you don't have any inhibitions. And I just said, I'm gonna marry you someday. And he goes, I've known for a while I was gonna marry you. We roll over, we go back to sleep. The next day, I'm like, "Hey, should we talk about that?" He didn't even remember it. He was not even fully awake when he had said,
That's awesome.
"I've
How
known I was gonna marry you
funny.
for a long time." And, it's
You know
so
what?
funny.
I believe that men do know before women, though. A man will know the minute that he like meets a woman, like they know in their heart that they love them. A woman sometimes might take a little bit longer because she'll question it. But I do believe when a man says, I know I'm going to marry her, he means it. He's head over heels in love with them, even though he was unconscious. But
He was unconscious, and it would be a year and a half after that before he proposed.
Well, at least
oh,
he
bless his
finally
heart.
did.
Bless his little heart.
Yep.
But you know what? That was good for me too, because that helped me learn that, even when I'm really in tune and manifesting, it doesn't always happen on the timetable that you think it's going to happen
Amen.
in. And
Amen.
so,
Absolutely.
right?
That's
So
very
true.
smart yep, absolutely.
And I think that's why I needed to learn that, and I needed to release my controllingness
Yeah.
and just allow that space for, you know what, when this is meant to happen, it'll happen. And when
And
it
don't
It's a
you
good
feel
happens,
why
growth
that's why so many
mindset.
people give up,
yeah,
Yes,
well,
that's
right?
exactly what I was gonna say. Like that's the home stretch and that's the coaching lesson is that people do give up right before that breakthrough is about to happen. And it's because, yep, here you go.
oh,
3
I
feet
love
from gold.
that.
She always talks
Yes.
about this one.
3 feet from gold. It's like we end up talking about this so often, but it's so true. We're 3
So
feet from
true.
gold, just when you think of giving up on love because it's not happening for you when you want it, or just because, when you're 3 feet from gold, just before you like get that big client or sell that first product or whatever, don't give up because you might be 3 feet from gold. This book is like, it totally changes your perspective.
I
I
love
love
that.
it.
And
Yeah.
if you know Catherine Zenkina, she's big on manifesting. She was in Boss Babe too, Renee. That was where I
Oh,
first
okay.
met her. And so this analogy is not mine. I heard it from her, but I love it so much. And so she'd say, imagine on Friday evening, I call you up and I say, hey, I deposited $1 million in your bank account. It's going to be there on Monday. You're not going to see it until Monday. It's pending right now, but it's deposited. You know how excited you're going to be that weekend?
Right.
Well, you don't have the money. How could you be so excited if the money's not even there yet? Because you know it's going to be there. That is how manifesting works, where you can walk forward with that confidence that it's going to be there, right? He's going to propose, or the right man's going to come in my life. The
Yeah.
difference is we don't have that guarantee it's going to happen on a Monday. It might be
Yeah.
6 months, it might be a year, but just knowing, to that, even that book, Renee, you don't know when you're 3 feet from gold,
Right.
right?
Right.
Yep.
And so, but you know that it's coming. And so
Exactly.
to walk in that confidence, in that gratitude that it
Hmm.
is coming for you, that it is
Hmm.
meant for you,
Hmm.
I think that's so powerful. And I spoke on this once and I started crying. Blame the pregnancy hormones, probably, but I feel so
Probably.
strongly about how many women don't realize that like what
Yes.
is amazing in store for them.
Yep.
They don't realize it because like it's like a secret
Amen.
that not everybody knows, that your dream life is waiting for you. It is promised to you. It is
Yep.
coming. You would not have that desire in your heart if it wasn't meant for you.
Right.
True.
And anyways, so I've clearly got better at talking about it, that I don't start crying every single time.
Oh my God. You have got me so jazzed up. And I'm like, oh my God, yes, we are all 3 feet from gold. Like it's happening, people. It's happening, people. Get up.
It's happening, and it doesn't always happen exactly how you thought, and one of my
No.
girlfriends who had asked for advice on manifesting a husband, she's like, I feel like I've done the work on myself. I'm ready, but I just feel blocked. And I said, what if you're not blocked at all? What if he's preparing for you? And he's got some stuff he needs
Yeah.
to work through before
Yeah.
you meet, so that this is the right time. It has nothing to do with where you're at. You
Right.
did it. You're
Yeah.
ready, girl.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
very
Yeah.
smart.
It's
Yep.
so
it's not always
true.
about just you and your journey. There's sometimes other people involved, whether that is a business or a relationship.
Yeah, it's so true. Life is just like that, period. Like, period, Nicole, right? It's just, I mean, you are aligned at that very minuscule second per minute. Like, I mean, just that one little tick, and that person is aligned at the same time. But what they were going through and what you were going through might have been like this or might have been like that. And you were just, and then bam, right? It's just
No.
life.
And there's times, right, where like, oh, I wish I met you sooner. And you're like, it wouldn't have been the right time. We weren't
No.
ready for each other then.
Yes, my husband and I say that all the time.
Yep.
Like, I am so glad I did not meet you then. I
I,
don't know. I mean, we talk about our younger selves, and I don't think that our lives were aligned at that time
no,
to be together.
I
And then
would
we
absolutely positively will not be with Tony
you and Tony,
20 years
yeah.
ago.
No, and we
Nope.
talk
We're
about, like,
different
would
people.
we have loved to have had babies together? But we look at each other and we're like, "Oh, they would have been crazy. Thank God we didn't." So like, good thing we didn't recreate together. This is a blessing. But we always say it was meant to be. Do we wish that we could have many more years
Right.
together?
Right.
That is the one thing that we wish, because, Nicole, how you said that, I was 30 and had to start over. So you're meeting somebody later in life and you don't have that much time left with them, and you realize how much more precious it is. That's the only thing we wish for. But timing, no, hell no. I don't want to meet his 18-year-old self.
Oh
No.
God, no.
We love
Nope.
each other
Nope.
now.
Right. Love you, Tony, but no, not when you were younger. That would have been, we probably would not have clicked.
Right.
Yeah.
So
No.
I do think it's hard to remember that sometimes when you're in the thick of something, you're going through something hard, or it's not
Yeah.
making
True.
sense, or it's not what you want.
Mhm.
But even again, I was married, I had a good life, and I
Mhm.
could feel like this isn't where I'm supposed to be. This isn't right. And,
Yeah.
so to recognize I have this desire for more, or I don't feel fulfilled because there is more for me, and to be
Mhm.
able to, take the leap, if you will, and act on that, whatever it is so empowering. And I didn't get to, feel the justification of, "I was right, I knew it. There was more for me."
Yeah.
I didn't get that immediately, right? I had a journey to get to
Yeah.
where I do feel fulfilled, and I'm so happy, and this will make me tear up, so I'm not gonna go too far down the path of how happy I am, but it I hope to be a testament for other women that are in a similar boat. It can be your job, it can be a relationship, it can just be where you're at in your life,
Yeah.
that if you're feeling, you're ignoring your intuition that's trying to tell you this is
Mhm.
not this is not the life that you were meant to live, like, listen to that, and I promise you will make it through on the other side, and you will realize, wow, if I hadn't have actually listened to that inner voice, if I would have continued to quiet it, I wouldn't feel as fulfilled as I do now.
That's
Yeah.
very important. And oftentimes people don't, many women don't listen to that intuition.
No.
And we know it's such a powerful tool if we
Sometimes I think
only listen to it.
we don't think that we deserve happiness like that, Renee, you know?
Yeah, it comes back to the mindset and limiting beliefs. We don't
Yeah.
feel that we could live a life like that. So that keeps us in that shitty box. And the
Yep.
shitty box is whether it's a shitty relationship, it's a shitty job, it's a shitty like whatever that ish is for someone. We all have ish. It's a matter of, do you stay in that ish or do you do the work and change your mindset and get out of it?
Mhm.
And it will manifest in other ways. It might be health issues
Yeah.
if you ignore it, right?
Yeah, so true.
I
So, so
I
true.
had
It
a
can
lot of
affect you
health
in all
issues.
different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had some health issues that just magically resolved themselves, like, they're fine now.
Right.
I was like, "Oh, yeah, I don't have those issues anymore." Or I had, recurring nightmares, just always being chased in my dreams. Always someone's trying to murder me. It got to the point where it wasn't even scary. It was like, "Oh, here we go. Someone's trying to murder me again."
Oh my
And it
gosh.
was just a constant, like,
Oh
being chased,
no.
running away in my dreams, and
Oh,
it wasn't until months later that I was like, "Oh, I don't have those
yeah.
dreams anymore." You know?
Wow.
And so my intuition, my subconscious was trying to
Yeah.
convey the message to me, and it took me a while to get it, but I did eventually figure it out, and now I can't say I sleep well, I could say I sleep like a baby, meaning I'm up all the time, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
actually, you know what my husband tells me? I laugh in my sleep now. That's the
Do
difference.
you really?
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh,
great.
I
yes,
love
I laugh
that.
in my sleep, so
See,
there's
think
hope.
about it. You're about to bring a baby into the world, and and this baby is going to get the best version of you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, and that is so beautiful that when moms become like the person they're supposed to be and their happiness radiates, their babies deserve that.
Yeah.
Rather it happens while
Absolutely.
you're pregnant or it happens later in life or it happens immediately. You know what I mean? Like, maybe in the teenage years, maybe you weren't happy and then your kids finally did get to see you be happy, but your baby's going to come out getting to see its mommy fully blessed and happy. And that is so incredible.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that because I am having kids later than I
Mhm.
expected, but yeah, how much how much better of a mom am I going to be because
Right.
Yes.
I've got my own house in order. I'm not just
Yeah.
this hot mess express that's,
Yeah.
not dealt with my own stuff. And so
Oh, well, you'll be a hot mess. Don't worry. That's coming. Just, call it
It's
when
coming.
you need us.
That
But
doesn't totally go away ever.
oh, it's
but
comical.
you're
Believe
gonna
me.
be a happy hot mess,
Hot
though.
mess express.
Yes.
That's what's important. That is
Yes,
what's
that's
important.
fair. That's a good call out. That's a fair I'm already losing my mind. Who did I tell? I go, "You just get dumber." I mean, I can't even find my phone in my
It's
hand half the time.
it's
It's just
hormone
like
brain. It's
You just
hormone
lose brain
break.
cells. He's sucking my brain cells for sure.
Yep.
That
Yep.
means he's gonna be extremely intelligent. They usually say when you're pregnant with with a little girl that you get uglier because she sucks the beauty out of you. So, and for little boys, they suck their mommy's knowledge in hopes that one day there will be amazing men who do great things for women, right?
100%. I love
That's
that.
awesome.
I
All
just
right.
did
So
I just did a Nicole, you're gonna laugh at this one because you're actually in the midst of it. I just did a TikTok and it was like acting like I was mad at my husband and I'm like, I grew balls, so back off. You may
Oh
have
my gosh, I love that.
all boy moms unite, you know what I'm talking about.
oh
Oh,
my
I
God.
love that.
That's funny.
Fun stuff.
I didn't
Fun
do
stuff.
that. I didn't do that. I'm a girl mom.
No, you got the beauty sucked out of you.
I got the beauty sucked out of me. So, yep.
Well, luckily you
You
got
get
it
it back.
back, Renee.
Oh,
You
thank you
do.
very much. Thank you. Thank
Totally get
you.
it back.
Thank you. Thank you. So
So
if somebody, I want to know what you would give advice to if somebody's listening and they're feeling like stuck and they're scared and unsure, like what's the one message that you'd want them to walk away with?
So there's a lot of tools available to us that I feel like we take for granted, right? I mean, journaling.
Hmm.
Journaling alone is
Mhm.
huge. And I don't know about
I love
you,
it.
but for me, just getting some of this stuff out on paper
Yeah.
is so powerful. And for me, it always starts out very toxic, very angry, and then my sage comes through and I kind of can just release it because I got it all out. And
Yeah.
so, if you're feeling stuck, first of all, be honest with yourself about it, right? Don't keep pretending. That would be my biggest advice. Stop pretending like everything's fine if you're not actually fine. You don't have to be fine.
Yeah.
And so that would be the first thing. And then figure out, is journaling going to help give you clarity? Some people don't like to journal. They don't like to take the time. They don't like to write. Okay, well then what is going to work for you? Let's start thinking about, hey, what do I want?
Hmm.
What do I want out of this life? When's the last time I thought about what I wanted, right? What are you prioritizing in your life? It could be kids, it could be your husband, it could be a significant other, it could be, it could be any number of things. Maybe it is your job. Maybe you hate your job, but it's still sucking life out of you and you're still pouring so much of yourself into it. Start thinking about, okay, if I did have a magic wand, what would I want my life to look like?
Hmm.
And start to play around with it. Like just have fun exploring that possibility because that alone is really empowering to start to think about, oh my goodness, well, if I could have anything, I'd want this and I'd want to do this and I'd want to
Yeah.
do this. Um, and then you need to start to take steps to, you know, make a change in your life. Obviously, I would say, call me. I can help you. I'll coach you through it. But
Or anybody, like, if, I mean, I want people to reach out to you too, Nicole, but also I was just thinking like that community at once you've written it down or you choose not to write it down, but you just accept the fact that you are stuck. Now you've got to get unstuck and you can't do it on your own. I'm sorry. Like
right,
you can mentally get yourself there, but once you get yourself there, you're going to get stuck again.
you need that
So
support system.
you do. You
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And so, that's where who in your life can you reach out to that can help you, right? And for me, I had my sister, but I hired a coach because I knew, look, I there's some stuff I got to work through and I don't know how to work through it on my own. I can only journal
Right.
so
And your
much.
sister
Right.
doesn't know. Yeah.
And that's the thing too, is having a coach and obviously I'm a coach as well. We know the strength and the power in having a coach because they look at it from a different lens.
Yes,
Family and
absolutely.
friends know us on a personal level, and they may be skewed with the version of you that they know. And a
Mhm.
coach will be able to take those rose-colored glasses off
They
and
can be
give
neutral.
it to you. Yep, they can keep it neutral. They can give it to you
Yes,
straight. And that's
absolutely.
really when that's when it changes.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
so it doesn't have to be me, right? There's lots of coaches out there. There's lots of books, there's lots of resources. There's lots of free resources too, right? You don't have to think, "Oh, I need to invest a bunch of money if I want to change my life." You don't have to do that. There's
right.
a lot of very valuable free resources, and I'm happy to point people to those if they're like, "Hey, I'm broke, I can't afford anything, but what can you give me for
Mhm.
free? There are free resources that we can point you to that's like, you know what? At least do this. This will get you by. Here's some good resources
Right.
that don't cost a especially in this day and age. On the internet,
Yeah.
there's a lot of garbage, but there's a lot of good stuff too.
Yep, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
We need like a ladies, all of us have coached and are coaching. I mean, for the last 20 years, that's what I did in
Yeah,
my corporate job. But we need a one pager for whenever people ask of like, I just need it. And it's just those reminders of what to do and what
Mhm.
to get and where to go, right? Like we need that one pager whenever somebody
Those
says, you know, I don't
P-suite.
have a lot of money, but I need you to link me and say, hey, I have a $10 one pager, but you can always come back and I can guide you and direct you somewhere else. Because sometimes those one pagers are like, oh, I didn't do that today. Nope, I'm getting stuck again.
Oh, I
But
love that.
either way, you need a community and you need people to support you or to cheer you on or to
yep,
guide you and direct you. And that is with any toxic anything, any addiction, any kind of anything that is causing you to be stuck, you have to have support.
Absolutely. Well, and thinking about that support, you need those people to remind you that you have the power. Even in corporate, even when there's layoffs happening,
yeah,
you get to decide how
Yeah.
you're gonna let that affect your life. And I want everybody to be able, whether you've started a business or not, I don't want anyone being in fear of I'm gonna lose my job or this is gonna happen to me, right? You are in control of your life. Life is happening
Yeah.
for you, not to you. And so
Love it.
even when it seems like you have no control over something that happens in your life, for you to
Mhm.
know that there's plenty of things that you do have control over. You have control over how you react to your circumstances.
Yeah,
You have control over your thoughts that are what create your feelings. Just
absolutely.
even that, remembering that you have
yeah,
more control than you think you do in any situation,
yeah,
I think is part of what a community can help remind you of. Because we forget that sometimes. We forget that
Yeah,
we have control over a lot of
sure.
things.
And we
Oh, I
forget
absolutely love
you
your journey.
do. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm
I
like,
was
I just
I was
love
gonna
her
add
journey and
yeah, that we need beautiful people like you, and we love your
yeah,
journey. That's what Renee was gonna say. Just
yeah.
really
I mean,
manifesting her words and
it's
reading her mind.
exactly, exactly. Well, you can I mean, she's such a beautiful soul and, knowing her her story, your journey, Nicole, really resonates with so many women because oftentimes, and we see it all the time talking to people here, is that sense of feeling stuck and embracing your inner badass so that you can do something different and change the circumstance and change the trajectory of your life. I mean, look at you. You're a perfect example of that. I love it.
Thank you so much. And yes, that is true that we all have that inner badass within us. And I think some of us lose sight of it depending on
Mhm.
where you're at in your life. And I might have been in my 30s when I felt like it was too late for me. And if anyone's listening and saying, "Oh, well, I'm 40. Oh, well, I'm 50. Well, I'm 60. It's too late for me." I'm
Right.
sorry. My 78-year-old neighbor still got it going on. You still got it going on. It's never too late for you.
Nope. I'm 55 and I feel like I'm just freaking getting started. I'm like, giddy
Yes,
up. I am on
yes.
a roll.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. Just getting started. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for
Yes.
sharing your story and your heart. And what's the best
Thank
way
you for
people can
being a
reach you?
blessing.
Thank you so much, both of you. It's been so great talking with you. I love talking about this kind of stuff, and it just gets me excited that, hey, we're all in this together. We can do
Yeah.
this.
Well, you can certainly tell how passionate you are of it. So I love that.
Thank
And how
you.
can people follow you and connect with you?
Yeah, so Nicole Sahara on Instagram is probably the easiest way to find me.
Okay.
If or NicoleSahara.com, that's my website. It's all very simple. It's Nicole Sahara. Sahara is my middle name. And so throughout
Easy.
my journey, I thought, well, my last name might change, but it's never going to change? My middle name. So
That's wonderful. That's very smart.
yes. And so, find me on Instagram. I'd love to connect with you, even just casual conversation. I love hearing people's stories. And, even if there's something that I can give that would help somebody else just in a 1 hour conversation,
Yeah.
I would love to do that. This was my tattoo before I made this my business logo. But
Oh,
this this symbolizes the Viking rune called Dagaz. And what
Yep.
this symbolizes is a change in your way of thinking so radical. There's no going back to the old way of thinking. And just that
Aw.
idea of a breakthrough. And my wish for everybody listening to this is that you have that breakthrough in your life if you haven't already, or if you've had breakthroughs but it's been a while, that you have that breakthrough that's going to help you realize you can go pursue whatever it is you want to pursue.
I love that. Absolutely adore
Yay.
you. Everyone, please go follow Nicole. And thank you for listening, everyone. Stay tuned for the next Unapologetically Badass, same time, same place. And
Yay.
please let us know what you think of this episode and contact Nicole or us if you have any questions whatsoever. Have a great one.
Thank you again, everybody. Good night.
All right, Queens, that's a wrap for today's episode. But before you hit pause, let's talk about you and how we can help you slay every part of your life. If you're ready to feel fabulous and look like $1,000,000, I've got you covered with my badass queen coaching, sparkling touchstone crystal jewelry, and Bella Grace collagen, because glowing skin and a sparkly vibe, that's a power move. Check it all out at ReneeCarbonefleming.com. And my co-host Sierra, oh yeah, she's bringing the heat too. Not only is she rocking Bella Grace collagen for her glow game, but she's also the queen of chic with her fabulous clothing boutique. From boosting your wellness to leveling up your wardrobe, Sierra's got the magic to help you shine inside and out. Check her out at Linktree/Sierra Whitener 7. So here's the deal. Head to our websites, grab the goods that'll help you live your best life, and let's make everything about you unapologetically badass. And hey, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share this episode with your fellow queens, because the more sparkle in the world, the better. Until next time, keep glowing, keep slaying, and remember, you're a badass queen who deserves it all.